Ryanne Glenn, welcome to the Rocky Mountain Writer Podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
I should say welcome back to the Rocky Mountain Writer Podcast. It's been almost 4 years, so it's great to have you back on. Last time we were sort of just getting into the pandemic. We were about 4 months, 3 months in when we chatted in June of 2020.
I know it's crazy to think about. Like, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it actually was that long ago.
Yeah, same thing to me. I was just looking at that. I went back and listened to it, and I looked at the date, and it just seems like a whole different era. It had a different feeling to it. Just I was
Oh, yeah,
recalling that sensation of just being kind of at home.
absolutely. Um, there's been so many like weird changes happening in, professional life, personal life. It that really affected a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about your new short story that is going to be in the new Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers anthology that's coming out in September, and want to hear about that. We also want to just hear what's been happening with you and writing, because last time we chatted, you were just in the process of wrapping up your trilogy, I think, or getting close. Um, so we want to talk about all that. But the other thing is, last time, if we have very, let's say, readers, listeners who are really paying attention, we left you last time just about to graduate with a degree in, I think, chemical engineering.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
what's happened? What's happening with you and career-wise or study-wise? Did you go on to further school or what?
Oh gosh, no. I finished my bachelor's and was like, I am done. That's enough for me. But yeah, graduated right in the middle of COVID, which was very weird with the job search. I like my senior year. It's a very big part for engineering students. You have like your senior design project. It's this huge thing, and especially something called E-Days happens, and we didn't really get that for us because it was in the middle of COVID. It was all online. It was just not great. So I took the first job that I could find, but it actually turned out to be kind of awesome. So it's a image analysis digital pathology workspace, which I fell in love with. I had no idea like that I would love it so much. Um, but it's been awesome, and I'm still working in that industry.
Is that something to do with medical diagnostics then?
Kind of. So what we mostly work with research companies. So they use the software that my company makes and sells, and they use it to analyze their tissue samples, basically for the different, drug studies, vaccination studies, just regular studies in general. So it's really cool working with a bunch of different tissue types, cancer types, all sorts of stuff. It's just really amazing what we can do and what we can look at.
Wow, that's great. I'm just sort of curious, is that a Colorado-based firm?
Actually, my company's based in Denmark, and then our
Wow.
or our U.S. base is mainly headquartered in Denver. Um, so it's really cool. We've got a lot of customer support and such out here in the U.S., and then like the tech and the dev team is out in Europe. But it's such a fascinating industry, and every time I log on or help a customer, I'm like, whoa, that's something new I've never seen.
Wow.
So I
And
love it.
do you work from home or do you go into an
I do
office?
work from home. I really like working from home. I'm kind of a homebody in general. I feel like a lot of writers probably are like their space, like their nice cozy house. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are a representative of the new generation for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. Well, let's talk about writing. Tell us about this short story. I love the title. We'll always have peaches. Fantastic title. When did you write that? Based on the prompt from Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers and seeing the idea for the theme of the anthology?
Actually, I wrote this I think 2 years ago ish, something like that. I grew up in the Grand Valley in Fruita, and there's Palisade peaches there. I'm sure everyone in Colorado knows about Palisade peaches. And I grew up eating those every season, loving them, and as a very picky eater as a kid that just like wouldn't eat hardly anything, peaches for some reason, I ate a lot of those. And it's kind of, I don't know why I started writing it, but it was just kind of remembering having peaches as a kid, and then as you're growing up, they never really lived up to the memory. So maybe, as a kid, the memory was a little bit blown out of proportion. Maybe that's just, what I thought about. And then it's just quite different reflecting back on kind of those years. Yeah, and it just kind of turned into this forlorn story of like longing for childhood and longing for peaches and um, missing that.
Oh, well, one quick coincidence is the last guest on the Rocky Mountain Writer was J. Warren Weaver, who lives in Fruita. So I think this is the first time in back-to-back episodes we've had mentions of a Western Slope town, especially Fruita.
I love it.
And last time we chatted, you actually go back and forth a little bit to Fruita.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, okay,
absolutely. My
yeah,
parents still live there. Family dog's there, so love to go back and visit. Or not, right? It's
yeah,
only a 4 hour drive.
yeah, yeah. All right, for those who are watching, you can see we had a little change in signals on Ryan's end based on the computer deciding to stop working, and Ryan's jumped on her phone, which is great. Thank you for doing that. I was just asking you, tell us a little bit about the main character of your story. We'll always have Peaches, and a little bit about the plot.
Right. So the main character is me, essentially. I have little sections and like little tiny stories and anecdotes from me as I grow up and at different ages. So I have like I think 11-year-old me, 15-year-old me, and then like a me going off to college. And it's just little stories of, some of the bigger memories, I guess, of having peaches growing up. So, my first peach, of course, and then one of the biggest things I remember is my grandma and my mom and I all canned peaches, which was really fun. And then for those of you who have been to Fruita and know about Fruita, there's the hot tomato pizza place that has peach pizza every season now. And I love going back for peach pizza. It's delicious. Um, but yeah, not like a full like story arc plot thing, but it's more just remembering peaches and yeah.
Yeah, it sounds kind of atmospheric.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So when you saw the Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers call for short stories, did you immediately think of that right away, or
Yeah.
once you did decide to submit, did you rewrite it in any way based on the call?
Um, yeah, once that call came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a story that I wrote that's like almost exactly perfect. So honestly, I didn't do a whole lot of editing or changing to it. I kind of just submitted it as is. I did a bit of like punctuation cleanup, but
Yeah.
but no, it just kind of fit really well with the theme as it was, which was kind of cool.
Have you had other short stories published?
A handful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The publisher that did my trilogy has a short story anthology that was really fun. That was like they made up a fake hotel and you wrote a story about that hotel, which was kind of fun through different times and a handful of other ones on some smaller sites.
Great. Great. Well, how did it feel to get the acceptance from Paul and Linda, the editors?
Really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice when someone says, "Hey, we like your work." That's like very validating and wonderful as a writer. I love that. So yeah, it was great.
Did they put you through a good edit process or have any suggestions to push it along?
Yeah, definitely. We struggled, I think, a little bit because like the first couple sections are written from me as like a child, so through a kid's eyes and view. So they were a little messy. I'm not gonna lie. But I think we got it cleaned up in a nice enough way where it still kind of reads, like a child is eating a peach for the first time. And then I missed quite a few commas, but commas are tough.
They are sharp editors, though, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, they did such a good job, and yeah, it was super easy working with them too. Like, yeah, very clear edits, and it was really good.
Yeah, that's great. So, in addition to that, coming out in a few months, have you been writing other things as well? I know last time we chatted, we were just nearing the end of seeing your trilogy come out into the light of day. Descent of Shadows, first book, Ruins of Light, and then Break of Darkness, if I have them correctly ordered.
Yep, yep.
Right.
Yeah, so I published those, and then honestly, I kind of stopped writing. I had a couple pretty big life changes. I graduated college and I moved down to Denver. And it was kind of weird. Every time I wanted to sit down and write, I just kind of just stared at the page. It's not that I didn't have ideas, and I still have like an entire journal's worth of ideas and stories that I want to write. I just couldn't. Like, it was weird. Um, and my trilogy, I wrote and published all three books within the span of about 2 years. And that's like a lot. And I definitely recognize that I probably pushed a little too fast. But I was so just burnt out from it. And only in the last couple months have I actually started writing on a new novel again.
So, and at the end of the last chat, you did say you had an idea and you were going to start working
Mhm.
on something. So really just a different feeling when you sat down to write where the creativity just wasn't there for you.
Yeah, it just like, I don't want to say it wasn't enjoyable because I've always loved writing, and that's, it's just fun to, imagine things, but it was just very lackluster, and I was kind of just bored with everything. Um, yeah, it was a very strange feeling.
Yeah. You hear about reader slumps all the time, and you hear occasionally
Mhm.
about writer slumps, and you just feel not necessarily blocked in terms of plot or story, but just not feeling that spark to
Mhm.
push through. What pulled you out of it? Can you say?
I'm not even sure. I did do a little bit of research on burnout, and apparently it takes like 3 to 5 years to recover. So
Wow.
we're nearing about the three year mark for me, and I don't know, my brain just finally said, "Okay, we're ready to write now." Um, yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah. So looking back, and you said you realized that you may have pushed it a little too hard. If you were giving advice to somebody else who was in your shoes at that time, and not only were you publishing a trilogy, you were in college and not exactly taking the easy route through college either, with a degree in chemical engineering. So you were clearly working at a pretty heavy pace, both on your creative side and on your academic side. But what would be your advice to somebody who is coming up with that same idea for
Mm.
getting a trilogy out there quickly, or trying to get a series of books out there quickly?
Um, well, don't publish in the middle of COVID. That was kind of a problem. Um, I think I kind of lost some of the fun towards the end. I started to view it more as like, okay, this is a job that I have to do. And I never I never started writing to like make it a career. It just kind of happened. And I think I kind of lost the fun part of it. So, if that's what you like to do, then don't lose that, right? Like,
Right.
it's supposed to be fun. Like, this is a very fun thing to do. You're creating, you're, making up new worlds and new people. And yeah, don't ever lose the fun for sure.
Yeah. Last time I keep referring to the previous chat, but you were very frank about how mental health and your own struggles with some mental health issues, that you not only had confronted those and were being open, and you saw the value in being open about that, but you also talked about how that personal struggle informed some of the trilogy, some of the writing, and that you
Absolutely.
were manifesting some of your real world emotions and real world feelings in your writing. Can you just give us a little update on the mental health side of things for you? And as you look to your new project, are there something coming out of the burnout and coming through the burnout that will play out in the new book?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely struggled with depression during college. And I actually started writing as a way to cope with it. So it was very much a therapeutic exercise instead of journaling, because I didn't want to write about myself. That wasn't fun. I wanted to write something more exciting. Um, and yeah, definitely use that as part of my, character's journey as well. Um, when I graduated college, stress level definitely decreased a lot. And that certainly helped the depression piece. I, I'm still medicated, still doing really well. And um, I don't think we need to shy away from that. I know there's kind of been a stigma about that in the past, and I definitely think it's getting better. Um, but I see absolutely no shame in getting help for your issues if you have them. Like, there's no reason that we need to suffer in silence. It just doesn't work, not for you, not for the people around you that love you. Um, but yeah, doing really, really good still now. And I think that's great for me. um, as far as, maybe the burnout kind of coming into play, maybe I very much have I can't resist putting my own life experiences into things, right? Like, we're when we write, we have our own voices, and it's our experiences in our life that makes us the writers that we are, right? And I could never shy away from that. um who knows what's going to happen with this new one? Honestly, I think I've got 15,000 words written on it, which I'm very proud of myself. um
Yeah,
and I'm just going to see where it takes me and have some fun with it. Get back to the fun part.
yeah. Is there any connection between the new work and the trilogy?
No, two completely separate stories. I mean, they're both fantasy because that's just so much fun to write. But no, new characters, new story, new world. Yeah.
Yeah. For those who might be interested, give us a little recap of the trilogy. Somebody might out there might be saying, "Oh, I want to hear what that's about."
Oh, yes, I love it. I mean, I'm a little biased, but um
Yeah.
yeah, so the trilogy follows a girl named Anna whose home was attacked by wraiths, these shadowy creatures who in darkness they look like shadows and smoky. But in daylight they look human, and they believe that Anna's land should be theirs. And the humans, being as stubborn as humans are, say, no, 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 this is our land. Um, and it just follows Anna's journey as she fights these wraiths, takes her homeland back, and um, does have some of that depression struggle. Because I mean, as you're following growing up and having, stress of a changing world around you, everything's not all fine and dandy sometimes, right? So I definitely bring that in towards the end of the third book and get some good friendships made, some found family stuff, and good fantasy and sword fighting too, of course.
And can you give us a little sneak peek or an idea of what the new one's about, just in
Yeah,
general?
I'm doing a like a portal fantasy, so starting in this world ish, a version of Earth, I guess, and then going into this, magical world where, um, my character um, meets people that she didn't know existed, sees some magic that she didn't know existed. It's still definitely in the early stages. I don't have a full plot. I'm definitely a pantser. I don't like plotting things out.
Yeah.
um, but definitely focusing, I think, on, just finding herself as my character kind of goes through this new world. Because I think that's important.
Yeah. as you put words down, sentences down, chapters down, are you finding your writing style and how you think about how the story is unfolding? Has that changed in the, intervening years over the burnout?
Interesting. I hadn't actually thought about that. I think a little bit changed. I definitely don't feel like a novice or beginner writer anymore. Like, I don't feel like I have no idea what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
still a
sure.
little bit, but I definitely noticed that like the crutch words that I had writing my first trilogy, I'm a lot better at not including those in the beginning. And I think that was just a result of multiple edit rounds where my editor was like, get rid of this word. So I definitely noticed it's cleaner for sure.
Yeah. What were your crutch words? We each have our
Oh,
own.
hmm though I use though a lot. Or oh gosh, now I'm blanking on like all of them. That was my biggest one, I think. And
Yeah,
then the random that's that you put into sentences, like you don't really need that in there a lot of times.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Mine was still. The word
ooh, that's a
still.
good.
Yeah. It just most of the time it's just meaningless, and the other word is just.
Ooh,
Just
just is a good one too.
it completely really doesn't add anything to any sentence. Uh,
Right?
yeah.
Or
So
the feel like or felt like. Just say what they felt like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get me.
Exactly. Exactly. So, is your publisher waiting on this new book? Do they know you're working on something? Are you still in touch?
I am still in touch with them. I don't think they're not like waiting on it or anything. I'm not like contracted with them for this book at all. I have no idea where this book is going to go, actually.
Yeah.
I thought about maybe pitching at the Gold Conference. I don't know.
Why not?
Yeah, why not, right? Like
Yeah.
just just see where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just getting the short story, I think you touched on this a little bit, but getting that acceptance and um, going through that editing process, which I don't know about for you, but for me, it was several rounds of editing for Paul and Linda, who did a great job. But can you talk a little bit about just the confidence factor to be involved in a professional process again and just helping you come out of the burnout?
Oh yeah. I forgot how fun it was, honestly. Like I really missed the enjoyment of, oh, okay, I see maybe that sentence didn't come across quite right. Oh, okay, let's fix it. Um, and like Paul and Linda were great to work with. Like they were very good, thorough editors that they didn't want to compromise the voice that I had, which I very much appreciated. And it was great working with them. And it's very validating too, like, oh, someone accepted a story of mine. Okay, I can actually write. I know what I'm doing. It just, yeah, I definitely say a lot like writing is an extreme solo activity, and you get so bogged down in your bubble and your writing, and you don't know if you're doing anything right. Like you don't know if you're affecting anything. And yeah, getting an acceptance and being able to say, hey, I have a story coming out soon is just very validating and very exciting. And I definitely missed that excitement of, oh, it's going to come out. Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
The cover's
Yeah.
here. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad that, and I'm as guilty as what you just the phenomena you just mentioned, but it's too bad that we put so much value in external validation rather
Yeah.
than we can't find that in ourselves sometimes. And it wouldn't be great to walk around with that feeling all the time. And why can't we gift that to ourselves?
Right. It's very interesting. And I think it's different for writers because we want to share stories with people, and some stories aren't for everybody. Like there's so many genres, so many tropes, so many readers out there that it's just not for everybody. And I feel like we get caught up in that negative headspace a lot, which is tough. maybe we should just be nicer to each other.
Yeah. Nicer to each other and nicer to ourselves, maybe.
Yes, nicer
Yeah.
to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, this has been great. Yeah. Congratulations again on getting the story in the anthology. And it sounds like you are planning to come to Colorado Gold, whether you're pitching to agents or not.
Yes, definitely. Love the conference. I love meeting all the people. It's just fun, right?
Yeah.
Reconnecting with people that are across the state or whatever. Um, yeah, great time, great atmosphere.
Have you
Plus, I
been
live 20
going?
minutes away, so
Oh, did you go last year and through the pandemic and everything?
yeah, I think I missed 1 year because I was like relocating and getting a new job, and it was just kind of
Yeah.
a mess on my end.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I live really close to downtown and love it.
Yeah. Great. Well, I certainly hope to be there this year for sure and look forward to seeing you there. And yeah, great. Well, as we wrap up, we always like to give our guests a chance to promote a book or a writer, somebody you think needs a little more attention. I know you're a voracious reader, so I'm sure you've got
Oh
something
yes.
handy.
I read a lot and I am on Book Talk constantly because I can't get enough TikTok for some reason. Just yeah. Anyway, I did find one on Book Talk that I read the entire series and the fourth one isn't out until September and I'm desperate for the next one. But the first one's called Bonded by Thorns and it's like a fantasy fairy magic book. I don't know, I love it. I really enjoyed it. I bought the entire series as soon as I read the first one. I was like, I gotta have the rest, and now I'm stuck waiting for the next one.
Yeah, TikTok is super entertaining. It's just
I know.
wild. Yeah. What
Like,
do you know your handle off the top of your head?
I think it's just Ryanne Glenn.
Okay.
Yeah, and I post very stupid videos. I mean, I think I'm hilarious, but
Of course.
you know,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I will go follow you as soon as we hang up here. Yeah,
very fun.
it's the work that some of these TikTokers put into their videos and the thought process. And plus, if you think reading is dead, you are wrong.
I
Because
know, right?
yeah.
It's been great. I love Book Talk. I get so many recommendations and there's like other authors on there just, promoting their stories and it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It's awesome. And boy, they are some sharp folks, and you can see how much joy they're getting out of all the books they read. And I mean, here it is, we're talking in early April, so the March reading wrap-ups are just hilarious when they hold up 15 books. Here's my 15 books I read in March. And you go,
Right?
what?
I love it.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, we'll see you on TikTok. We'll see you at Colorado Gold. Thank you so much for jumping on the podcast today.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me and